I am not a hero. I am not a saint. I'm just a regular, average person. I say this because when I decided to donate my kidney to a stranger, I put literally zero thought into it. I wasn't motivated by great faith. I didn't have a strong calling. I didn't set out to do something big. It kind of just happened. It was late December in 2018, and I walked into Starbucks for a grande coffee with 1 pump of mocha. And while I waited for my coffee, I stood over by the announcement board, and there I saw a flyer that read, "Help find a kidney donor for Eli Valdez." Now, I didn't know Eli Valdez, but he looked like a nice guy. He had warm eyes, he had a kind smile, he looked huggable, kind of like a teddy bear. His wife, Monica, said they had been together for 27 years. She called him her honey. It was clear from the flyer that he was loved. So I got my coffee and I waited in my car and I decided to see if I was a match for Eli. I filled out the health questionnaire that was mentioned on the flyer. It took about 15 minutes. I hit submit and went home to my family. 3 days later, I got a call from a health coordinator at the UCLA Medical Center. Her name was Rhonda. She wanted to discuss my health questionnaire. So I don't know what I thought was going to happen when I hit submit, but whatever it was, I didn't think it would happen within 3 days. I hadn't even talked to my husband. People who donate a kidney to a stranger are sometimes called altruistic donors. In my case, I donated to a specific person, but sometimes it's completely anonymous. I donated my kidney for no apparent reason. In fact, if you ask most kidney donors, they don't have a particularly compelling reason either. Maybe they wanted to help somebody. Maybe they thought it was the right thing to do. Every year, several hundred altruistic donors walk into a hospital healthy. They ask to be put under anesthesia and have a major organ removed. They wake up in some degree of pain and take time off from work to recover. Why would anybody ask for that? Why would somebody do that? There is a reason, and it's not just because it's the right thing to do. Sir Isaac Newton posited that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Now, Newton was talking about the force that is exerted onto an object. But lately, I've been thinking about how Newton's third law of motion applies to the concept of kindness. You see, I used to think that being kind, being a good friend, caring for others was something I did to benefit other people. I thought that helping was an unselfish act. In order for an action to be truly good and altruistic, there had to be nothing gained from that action. Like a gift is somehow less righteous if the giver shares in the benefit of that gift. Well, I don't believe that anymore. 5 months after getting the call from Rhonda at UCLA, I donated my left kidney to Eli Valdez. And everyone said what an amazing thing I did for Eli. And I guess for Eli, it was amazing. I mean, he went from spending his days on dialysis, which isn't really living at all, to living his life to the fullest. He went back to work, he went back to school, and he's doing great. And I'm truly so happy for Eli and his family. But what I did was also a gift for myself. When I woke up from surgery, I wanted to know the answer to one question. Did it work? Was my kidney going to help Eli Valdez? My husband explained that my kidney pinked up right away and was already making urine. It worked. In that moment, I felt something unexpected. I felt grateful. Grateful? What exactly was I grateful for? I mean, I had met Eli for a total of 2 seconds before surgery. I've since learned that there's an extraordinary amount of happiness that comes from performing altruistic acts. Alan Lux first coined the term helper's high because helping people induces feelings of happiness and calm, effects similar to exercising and meditating. Kindness coaxes happiness hormones, oxytocin and serotonin to be released. And people who volunteer have been shown to have greater happiness, more life satisfaction, and fewer depressive symptoms. So I guess when I think about what exactly I was grateful for, it was that somehow I was given the secret key that opened the door to eternal happiness. I was on a helper's high. There's a whole host of research that supports the idea that kindness makes us happy. In one interesting study, researchers gave people $5. Half the group had to spend the money on themselves, and the other half had to give it away. At the end of the day, subjective happiness was rated. People who gave away the money were happier. They did the same study with $20, and the same results were found. People who give to charity are also happier than when they spend that money on themselves. And what's so interesting is even just the memory, even just thinking of our good deeds and our kind acts makes us happier. It's the gift that keeps on giving. People who are depressed can also benefit from kind acts. And even just thinking about being kind to someone in your life helps people improve their mood. And what's so interesting is that helping people and being kind isn't just for people who have money or a lot of time on their hands. 20 years ago, I was working as a social worker at a homeless shelter called Covenant House in New York City. And I worked on a unit for 18 to 21-year-old young men. They lived in the shelter for about 18 months, and they worked, they saved money, and they learned life skills. And one part of the program was that we took them to a local soup kitchen to help serve. And I remember thinking, why are we taking these homeless kids who have lots to think about in their own lives to help other very needy people? I mean, don't they have enough to worry about? What happened there, I'll never forget. These boys loved serving. For an hour, they were not homeless kids. They were helpers. They felt so good about themselves. And even though they had nothing to give, except materially, except of themselves, they loved it. So we all left with these warm, fuzzy feelings. And that's really why I'm here today. Because in a time where there's increased anxiety and depression and stress, we can all use more warm, fuzzy feelings. So before I leave today, I want to give you 3 tips to help you have the secret key to eternal happiness too. 1, if you want to be truly happy, donate your kidney to a stranger. No, I'm only kidding. You don't have to donate your kidney to a stranger. But do it if you can. Because currently, there are over 100,000 people waiting for a life-saving organ. And every day, 17 of those people die waiting. So do it if you can. But if you can't, that's okay. Every day, there are a million ways you can help improve someone's day by being kind, and in the process, ensure that you also have a good day. Everybody wins. 2, if you want to double the benefit for your good deed, tell somebody about it. Now, I know that's going to make people uncomfortable. I get it. It isn't all that easy for me to come up here and talk about my kidney. But do it anyway, because studies show that kindness is contagious. The more people see and hear about other kindness, the more motivated they are to do it themselves. So go ahead and do a good deed and tell a friend. Brag about it on Facebook. Share it with the world. You'll spread the joy. And 3, if you want the biggest bang for your buck, offer your kindness to a stranger. There's something so magical about helping a completely unsuspecting random person. There are no strings attached. There's no stress of reciprocality. It's just nice. So go ahead and pay for the person behind the drive-thru line at Starbucks. Put quarters into that expired meter. Or even just offer a kind word to the mom whose child is melting down on the checkout line at Target. I promise your actions will be appreciated. Recently, I was talking to a potential kidney donor about the process of donating, what it was like go through the testing and the recovery period. And he asked me what I would say to somebody who was thinking about donating, about why the experience was worth the pain. What was the benefit? And I thought about it. And I said, you know, the pain from surgery, that lasts a week or 2. But the joy of knowing you helped somebody, that doesn't expire. That joy lasts a lifetime. Thank you.